Is about prayer, which I like most is he said, what things soever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them and you shall have them. This is from the Gospel according to St. Mark, chapter 11, verse 24. What things soever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them and you shall have them. You know, when you are taught to pray like this, how do you believe? I look at the word believe and I divide it into two: be and live. To be is exist, to exist, and to live is to act in a certain way. And so I will show you how to, in your life, act in a certain way to make your dreams come true. But when we look in the book of the beginning, Genesis, there is an interesting occurrence. Last week, when I shared with you about the creation story, we talked about how Eve, the first woman, was created. And when we look from the the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verses 19 to 22, and I'll read it. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. When Adam looked at all the animals, he saw that they were in pairs, the male and female, but he did not find his helpmate. And so he created a desire for a helpmate. And Jesus said, what things soever you desire when you pray, when you commune with the Father, believe that you receive them and you shall have them. And so the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. Now, last week I asked those of you who are men and who have made x-rays before to see if any of your ribs are missing. And no one's, because if we inherit our genes from our parents. If one rib is missing, when you have it, when you have your children, all men will have missing one rib. But you know that the ribs cover the heart. And you are told that from the heart comes everything that we see in life. And so in Akan and in Ga, we say, Noni ka ochino. Noni ka ochino. After Adam saw all the birds, all the cattle, all the sheep, all the other animals, male and female, he said, hey, where is my female? And so that was the thing that was on his heart. Noni ka ochino. Ni edana kumason. Same thing. And God took that desire and formed a woman and presented it to Adam. You see, it started by saying that God created all the animals and brought them to Adam to see what he will call them. God creates all circumstances, and we label them either good or bad. And whatever we label them, that is what it becomes of us. That becomes to us. And so, whatever is happening in your life, you define it according to your understanding. And in this world, everything that you see in creation has come through someone painting a mental picture and wanting to have that thing made manifest. Everything. You want a shoe, something to cover your feet. Okay, what design? How many of you have created, clay? When you were young, we used clay to make so many things, huh? Now, how many of you have used clay to make a man before? But could you make it work? So, we create our desires and God manifests them. Huh? We create our desires and God manifests them. So whatsoever things you desire, when you pray, believe that ye receive them and you shall have them. I remember my beloved Guru, Roy Jean Davis, said to us one day that when he first learned the technique of creative imagination, he had one experience which taught him a lesson. And he said his guru, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, almost every other year had a Cadillac, which Mr. Lin, his successor, ordered for him. And so he also fell in love with Cadillac. But he didn't want a blue-black Cadillac. He wanted a white Cadillac. So he imagined a white Cadillac parked in front of the building where he was staying. And in that week, he saw several Cadillacs parked there, white Cadillacs, but none of them belonged to him. The thing is that he did not participate in the driving or seeing himself sitting in the Cadillac, either being driven or driving it. Be and live, act in a certain way. And so, when he told me that I was to be sent to Ghana, I went inside my house, the house where I was living in, and looked at my possessions. And I saw that to come to Accra, there were lots of things that I would need. And so I immediately sat down, relaxed, closed my eyes, and saw myself jumping on a waterbed, driving a car. At that time, my dad had come to America and bought an Opel GT. And I was fascinated by that car, but only 2 people could sit in that car. And so I said, I have to look for an Opel which could be repaired in Ghana. And I saw the Opel Manta. So I started imagining myself sitting in an Opel Manta, my dad sitting by me and my mother sitting at the back and telling me she was glad that I brought a car to drive her in Ghana. And not long after, I was told by Roy, I was called to his office, and he said, Samuel, some people have quit at the printing plant, and we need someone to work on one of the machines. And since it is something that needs to be done right now, I want to ask you if you would go and work at the printing plant. And I said, sure, if it will not, affect my duties here, I'll gladly do that. So he asked me to go to the manager of the printing plant and work my hours with him. So when I got there, the agreement was that anytime the cutter, school report card cutter will cut 1,000 pieces, I'll get $3. And that was the deal. But he said to me, the machine breaks down so many times. That is why the 2 people who were working on it quit. So I sat by the machine and I talked to the machine. I said, machine, I'm coming to work with you now. So you better behave well so that we can work harmoniously. Then I took a tape recorder with a lot of Roy's cassettes and took Autobiography of a Yogi, and I'll go there. I'll either be reading Autobiography of a Yogi or listening to talk by Roy on the cassette. And the machine will be there cutting them, shaping the cards. It never broke down once on me. And I made so much money, it was, according to Roy, disgusting, And one day, it was October. It was in October. I remember very well. My birthday was in October, and my brother and sister disciples and the people who lived in Lakemont went to a restaurant with me to celebrate my birthday, and they gave me a briefcase and some other things as a going away present. They said I could carry the briefcase with my notes in them, and with my notes in it, and go to share the message. So the following weekend, I went to Atlanta with my brother disciple, and we went to buy a waterbed and other things, a sound system, and the Opel Manta. And we got it at a very good price. But you see, I visualized these things, and God brought the opportunity to have something to do to earn the money. God brought the people and the circumstances to get it done. So whatever it is that you imagine, it will not drop from the sky. The people and the circumstances will come together to get that thing done. So don't you ever think that anything that you want to do is impossible, because God will bring the circumstances and the people together to get it done. Whatever it is that you need, the people and the circumstances will be brought together, you playing a part, and it will come to pass. And our fears and our doubts also rob us of a life of fulfillment, because what you fear is also imagining in reverse. You understand? Evil and live all have the same letters, but one is spelled backwards and the other is spelled forward. So if you want to go forward, you will live. If you want to go backwards, it will be evil. It will be against your life. And whatever happens to you in your life, you either caused it or you allow it. And you cause or you allow it through your imagination. Imagination is the place where we fashion our dreams and our desires. And Roy taught us the technique of creative imagination this way. He says that find a couch or a chair which is comfortable, or a bed. Lie down and relax the body and begin to watch your body as it breathes in and out naturally, and let it go until it feels like you are falling asleep. And then create in your mind a scene which will signify the fulfillment of your desire. You can have friends congratulating you that you now got a job. If it is a car that you want to drive or a house that you want to live in, if it is 3 bedrooms, walk through, create a scene in your mind that you have a key, you open the door, you walk through, you have a friend of yours by you saying, hey, John, I'm so happy that you've been able to have this 3-bedroom house for yourself. And he says, by the grace of God. Oh. And then engender the feeling. You see, this thing happened when Eve, the mother of all living things, was being created. You understand? It's showing us that the secret is feeling. Before you will have anything happen in your life, you feel it. And so, generate that feeling in you, that feeling of fulfillment. Oh, now I have this. And then go to sleep. Give thanks, be appreciative, give thanks to God for it, and go to sleep in it. And just like day follows night, you will see it live in your life after a while. It says that that thing is for an appointed time. Your desire, though it tarry, wait for it, for it will surely come. Whenever doubt assails you, you say, I'm waiting for this thing. It will surely come. And it will come if you do not allow the doubt to assail you and to overcome your mind. Because when doubt assails you and overcomes your mind, that is what you have desired. And for you to build a strong resistance to doubt, always have your friend as faith and cultivate hope. Have faith and cultivate hope. and it will appear. You see, this is what all saints, they assume that the thing is done, and it is done. They say, whatsoever things you desire when you pray, when you commune with the Father, believe that you receive them and you shall have them. And the desires of your heart will be manifested by God. And it happens through people and circumstances. When I was told that I was being sent to Ghana, I didn't dream first that I was going to find a job, but I looked at the things that I needed, and I saw myself having them, okay? And Roy told me there was an opening at the printing plant. He asked me to go and see the manager of the printing plant. The manager told me the condition. I accepted it. I went, I worked, and the money came. And when the money came, I knew what I wanted, so I went and bought them. But they were in fulfillment of the picture that I've created in my mind and accepted and felt strongly about. You see, all your dreams can be made manifest if your emotions, your energy, emotion. One thing, have a friend called Dr. Herbert Bailey. He always says, put a new motion in action. You see, energy in motion is emotion. And when you have a doubt or you have a need, all you need to do is to put a new motion, act in a certain way within, and it will manifest without. Recently there was a severe drought in California, and I have a sister in Campo called Ellen Gemini. She is now the head of the University of Healing, and she put a new course in motion, and she put it on Facebook that all is in divine order. It will rain and everything. And recently there's been floods in all of California. And just this morning, when I woke up after my morning devotion, I turned on the television, and the weather woman came on, and she was saying that the drought condition has been reduced to about 40%. And so they have recovered 60% of the drought conditions, and they are going down almost to zero. It's now on 40%. And so whatever things you desire, they wanted that drought situation to move. Maybe not only Ellen, but they may have been others, because I have brother and sister disciples living in California, in the San Francisco area, precisely in San Jose, at the Center for Spiritual Enlightenment, who I know may also be creating fair weather conditions in California. And it happened in all of the world. You see, even Job, when his ailment and other things came, he said, the thing that I feared most has happened unto me. What he feared most, he was seeing it live. Now, don't say what you fear most. Say what I wanted to happen, the fulfillment I want most is now happening. That is what you must be saying to yourself. Look, once you come into this world, whether you'll be rich or poor depends on you. Because I've seen so many rich kids become poor. And I've seen so many poor kids become very rich. And it is all because of what they thought of themselves and about life. Look, I have a cousin whose father was one of the richest men in Ghana. And there was a young man who was like his sidekick. You know, the young man wanted to be rich, and so he became his friend and was watching him. And this, my cousin, the only thing he knew to do was to drink and drive cars and knock things over. Eventually, the sidekick became the boss. And the shop that my uncle had given to my cousin, the poor guy bought that shop because my cousin got indebted and he closed the shop. And he went and saw the owners of the shop and he paid for it. And the sidekick. The sidekick is now one of the richest men in Ghana. My cousin died a very poor person. In fact, but for the grace of God that I was related to him, he wouldn't have had anyone to bury him. Because the burial, I, the cousin, went to do perform the necessary rituals for the burial. I took the car seats in my van and put his coffin in the van because the hearse to take his coffin to the this place, the cemetery, didn't come. So I had to ask people to help me. We took the seats from the car. I put the coffin in it. We went to Osu and I made them take the distance. I performed the distance. When I came, I put the seats back. And at that time, one of the Kwau herds saw me and said, "Gentlemen, I've asked about you because you were here, you performed everything, and I saw you taking your cousin's body in your this thing, and you have gone to bury him and you have come back. Well done." And so everything in your life will come through your imagination. Your imagination is, I am a genie. Is imagine. I am a genie. And genies are the ones who produce magic and make things appear in your life. So if you want to imagine, you are the genie. I am a genie. And today, I've shown you how you can use the technique of creative imagination to make your worthwhile dreams, your worthwhile desires come to pass. And I thank you so much for lending me your ears. Namaste.